Okay, so here we are with part 2 of my Laserdisc pickups for summer 2022. As you can see, I have the widescreen collector's edition, Star Wars Trilogy, the definitive collection right here. This is one of the main reasons I ended up with one of the extra Laserdisc players. That's because the guy selling this and a bunch of other really cool Laserdiscs would only sell it if he sold the Laserdisc with it. I already have that laser active, and I looked into the one he was selling. It's a CLD 1070. It was really nice in that it was boxed, that has a remote, fully working and everything, but it didn't really bring anything to the table for me because I already have the laser active and it's a single side player. If it had been a dual or both sides play, I think is what Pioneer calls it, where it flips, well, it doesn't actually flip, it flips the laser around and it can play both sides of a laser disc without you having to physically flip it over. If it had had that, that would have been an instant buy. I'd been like, cool, yeah, I want that because that's kind of a neat thing, not have to flip over a laser disc. But it's a single-sided play, and you know, it's kind of, it wasn't like the lowest end or anything, but it wasn't like super great either. But anyway, he wanted $300 originally for all the laser discs and the laserdisc player. And then he had marked it down on his own because it had been on the Facebook Marketplace and on, I also saw it on Austin Craigslist, and he'd marked it down to $250. And I'm like, dude, what about $150? And he was like, no, that's too low. Just the price of the trilogy, the definitive collection by itself is usually about $100. The player's about another $100, so I can't do $150. And so some time passed, and then I messaged him again about a week later or so and said, hey man, look, it's still out there. You obviously have trouble selling this. I don't want to pay the full amount, but I understand you don't want $150. How about let's do $175? And no, I'm sorry, $200. It was halfway. He had listed for $250, and I offered a $150 originally, and so we met halfway. And he's $200, and he's like, okay, fine. So that's a pretty good deal for me. Again, this thing usually sells, if you go to eBay, you find it for about $100. There are different versions of this, and I'm going to spend some time on this. So there's probably going to be about 5 to 7 minutes or so on the Star Wars Trilogy because it's super cool and I want to show it to you, even though there's a whole bunch of other videos on YouTube if you want to look into this. But anyway, I really wanted this, and it didn't seem like a bad price. And I thought, well, maybe I'll just flip the 1070, even if I get less than $100. It's in working condition, or maybe I can have it as a backup. So anyway, that's how I ended up with the CLD 1070. I haven't even tried it out yet. But anyway, let's look at the definitive collection. Now there are a bunch, and I mean a bunch of different versions of Star Wars Laserdiscs. And in fact, when I bought the Laser Active, I got what is called, let me show you these, the Faces Collection, right? And it's very obvious why they call this the Faces Collection, because they have huge faces on each one of these. So Star Wars has Darth Vader on it, Empire has a Stormtrooper, and of course Return of the Jedi has Master Yoda. But this collection is still pre-special edition. But the difference is that it doesn't come with all the audio commentary and all the extras, and it doesn't come with the book. And it's also, these are CLV, which means they're 60 minutes per side. They're still really fucking cool though. They're 60 minutes per side, so the quality isn't quite as good as standard. These are CLVs, also known as extended play. They're not CAV, which is known as standard play, where it's 30 minutes per side. And of course, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that if you use the whole side of a laser disc for only 30 minutes, you're probably going to get higher quality than if you squeeze 60 minutes onto the same side. Although it doesn't look terrible, it's a little bit better. And another advantage of having it on CAV or the standard plays that you can, pretty much all Laserdisc players can like do perfect freeze frames and things like that, because it's got basically one, I think it's like, it has to do with, I think it's got like one frame per ring or something, so it could just stay on that ring and keep that one frame, whereas CLV can have multiple frames in a ring, so it kind of flickers between two different frames. Something like that. That may not be 100% accurate, but I know in effect that's actually what ends up happening. Although later players, like the other player I got, the LA 3100 from Denon, which is really a Pioneer 701 or 702 or something like that. It's a reskin that Denon, sold it under its badge, but it was really a Pioneer underneath or inside. Those have some kind of digital like storage or something where it can store frames and still kind of do the tricks that you can do with the standard play discs, even if they're CLV. So you don't even really gain that much from going with CAV over CLV for the most part. If you're like a super purist, I guess you want the CAV stuff. But anyway, this set is pretty good. It's also very much, it's very desired by collectors. And I got this set as part of my Laser Active. I should maybe show you all the discs I got with my Laser Active. That's kind of a pretty good set too. But anyway, I already had these. So what did this buy me? Well, first, again, this is CAV, but it also has a lot of cool stuff. Let me start pulling stuff out of here. Let's take a look here. Because it's CAV, there's a lot of discs in here, right? So you can see each one is it's exactly 6 sides, which each side is 30 minutes in length. And that's a lot of flipping, right? So that's another reason I picked up that LA3100. It's because it's a both side player. So you can stick in a disc and it will play both sides. So if you stick in a CAV disc, it'll play an hour before you have to replace the disc. But if you stick in a CLV disc like the other ones, right, these are CLV, which they cram more per side, then you can go 2 hours, because it's 60 minutes per side, without having to flip anything over. So that's why I ended up buying the LA3100, because it was a pretty good deal. And the guy that sold it to me is he's a Laserdisc hobbyist. Like, he repairs and services Laserdiscs, so he like tuned it really well and everything. But anyway, going back to this, Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, right? Each have 6 sides on each, and then you get this cool George Lucas, the Creative Impulse book, and then you also get a like a 16-page booklet that goes over certain parts of the movie and the audio commentary and stuff. Yeah, and these have audio commentary on them because they have multiple audio tracks. Like, there's an analog track and a digital track, so you can actually select which track you want to use, and depending on which track you use, you can get some of the commentary. Now, it's not like DVD. This is all pre-DVD, right? So in DVDs, you can usually run the track, and the commentary usually runs the length of the movie, right? There's always somebody talking or telling jokes. It's the director or the actors, whatever. This one you'll see, let me start pulling stuff out. This thing is, I should have probably mentioned this already, but I didn't. There are multiple pressings of this definitive collection, and there are good pressings and bad pressings. The earlier ones had mistakes and used crappy glue like this. And there's like seconds, when I say parts, like seconds of the movies missing. There's at least one scene that I know of, like in Empire Strikes Back, when Leia is on the Falcon. If you recall, I think it's when they land in the worm, and she's like welding something on the Falcon to like fix it up. And then she finishes welding and she kind of like just trying to like snap this thing into place. That's when Han walks in. They have this whole scene. Anyway, the beginning of that scene is when she's welding. It's part of when they create, because you have to flip these, right? You have to break up the parts in at least 30-minute chunks or close to it. When you flip it, it starts with her trying to put that thing in place, right, to lock that thing after she's done welding. So you miss like 7 or 8 seconds of her welding, and that's all it is. Like, she's just welding, and then you see her put it away and then start trying to lock that thing in place. Well, in this bad pressing, which the one I have, because I confirmed because I looked at that side, you don't see her welding. She's already putting the tool away and starting to snap it in place. So things like that. And then apparently let me show you. There's a booklet in here that goes over all the different commentary that's available on all the discs, and it tells you the side and the chapter and the commentary and the person doing the commentary. Well, apparently there's errors in this. I didn't go through all these. I don't have the time, but I guess some of these are incorrect. And then also apparently the subtitles have errors too. So there's all kinds of problems. There's the bad glue, the errors in subtitles, the book has problems in it. Apparently there's typos in here too. So anyway, yeah, I mean, it was a little disappointing that I got like the bad pressing, but still, even the bad pressings of these things are still very well regarded in the Laserdisc community, because, I mean, it's Star Wars and it's CAV Star Wars, and it's pre-special edition Star Wars, right? So you don't have to worry about Han shooting at the same time or after Greedo or whatever. Han shoots first in all of these Laserdisc versions until you get to the special edition ones. But anyway, you get this cool thing. This part is the when it's sealed, right, with the plastic wrap. This is like on the back of it, not on the front, obviously, but it goes on the back, And then when you take off the seal, this would fall out, but somebody has taken this and folded it in half and preserved it, at least, and it gives you some of the features of the set. This set was $250 or $299? I want to say $250 when it first released in 1993. Yeah, 1993, Fox Video. So, and these I think came out later and were $59, I think, each. So it was a little cheaper to buy them separately. And of course, those, again, there's less discs. So it talks about the features here. It's got 18 sides, 9 discs, and full format CAV presentation. It is a letterbox. It's got the THX treatment. It's got audio tracks restored and remastered. It's got that guidebook we already went over. It's got that big thick book that I'll pull out in a second from George Lucas. And then it's got a whole bunch of interviews and previously unseen and rare footage, blah, blah, blah. So if you were a Star Wars nut and you had a Laserdisc player, this was pretty much an automatic buy. Right, so let's take a look at the discs, even though there's nothing really, they're not super interesting. Well, and again, here's the cheap ass glue that they use. That's unfortunate. This side's okay, but like the Empire one is completely unglued. It just completely falls apart. So yeah, there's nothing really to note on the discs, just that they say CAV, which means that they're standard format, and there's a whole bunch of sides to this. But I think also I read that these jackets, so you have to have a star field, that later revisions don't have a star field, they're just black. But apparently that's a good thing because that means that they don't have the errors that this one has. But anyway, let me just put this to the side and show you that book. I'm not going to pull out, should probably put it down here. I'm going to run out of room really quickly if I start putting everything over there. All right. The other two are pretty much the same thing. They're just discs inside of sleeves. But this thing, as far as I know, this thing doesn't have any errors, or at least it's no different from the other later printings of this. But it goes over Lucas's first 20 years, which some would argue are the only 20 years that are relevant, because that's when he got all the good stuff out. But it's pretty neat. I did, that was THX 1138. I did read a little bit about this. I read the foreword by Steven Spielberg, Francis Coppola, and it has a really, oh man, I love that image. Mann's Chinese Theater. I actually visited this not too long ago. It's not Mann's Chinese Theater anymore, but it's still Chinese Theater. Took a tour. Really cool place. Really cool place. If you're a cinemaphile, you got to visit at least once. Man, look how I know the feeling, George. I used to be that skinny too, and now neither one of us are even close to that. But lots of photographs, lots of interviews. Talks about all his movies that he's done. Well, there's the Raiders of the Lost Ark famous scene where the guy's face melts. But really cool. It's a really cool addition to the Star Wars set. I haven't gone through it all yet, but yeah, it's pretty neat. So anyway, that was kind of the jewel of the collection, or the lot that I bought from that guy. Let me put this down. Man, that thing's heavy. If you buy that thing, I don't know how much it would cost to ship. Probably should put these away too. Let me go over a couple other box sets that I got from the guy. And these are all included for the $200. And here you can see what I was talking about, that little thing on the back. Apparently this one stayed glued. I think the other one just fell off because they used cheap glue. This is Breakfast at Tiffany's, if you can't already tell. And this edition is super cool. I apparently only made 5,000 of these. I am not a huge Breakfast at Tiffany's fan, although I did take my girls to see it in the theater not too long ago, and they enjoyed it. I thought it was okay, but let's take a look at this one. They're not all special editions, so most of these Laserdiscs you're just gonna see the front and the back, and I'll move on. But here's the Laserdisc itself. Right, it's probably in CLV. Let's see, this film presented in a widescreen, so that's good. Black bars are normal. Yeah, it's in CLV, so it's an extended play. Most of the stuff is CLV. CAV is cool, but it takes up literally twice the space of CLV, and more flipping. And, you know, if you have a CLV disc and it's just one disc and you have a dual side player, then you never even have to flip it. So you just stick it in there and watch the whole movie. But on CAVs, there's a lot of flipping. So, okay, this is, oh, Blake Edwards. That's a little letter from Blake Edwards from 1994. Of course, Audrey Hepburn was not around at that time. Holly Go Lightly, which I always thought was a little weird. What is this? Oh, it's the CD. It has probably Moon River on it, right? Because that's like the most famous thing from here. Breakfast at Tiffany's, and Moon River is in fact the very first song. And what is this? Holly Go Lightly and the Mancini Magic. I actually saw Henry Mancini live in Buffalo, New York. I was visiting a friend for spring break, and his parents were pretty rich, and they had tickets to the orchestra, like season tickets, and they were like, "Hey, you want to go see Henry Mancini tonight?" And I'm like, yeah. So we just like, okay, and we just like, his dad was a doctor, and he was just like dressed like in a t-shirt and whatever, and I'm like, am I okay with this for an orchestra? Like, yeah, it's fine. So anyway, we saw Henry Mancini. That was pretty good too, because he died shortly after that, sadly, but I did get to see him. He composed so many movie and TV themes. Really cool. Pink Panther, another very famous one. Let's see, what else do we have here? Looks like these are just production stills. Fuck it, let's take them out. Very iconic, this look. That's pretty cool. They're just printings. Very nice. Put these away. And then I think, yeah, this is the copy of Audrey Hepburn's script. So it has, I think, her notes and things. It's just a copy of her script that she used for the movie, which is really cool. That's a nice little touch. So if you're a Breakfast at Tiffany's fan, yeah, you'd probably like to have this. I am not a big fan, but I think it's really neat. I did enjoy the movie, just not a super fan. I don't even know how much this would have cost. A lot, I'm sure. Probably, I don't know, even back then, probably at least $100. This got to fit in there somehow. Okay. I didn't keep hitting the camera there. All right, so that was Breakfast at Tiffany's. Really cool. And I think I have one more. It's like pretty thick, and then the rest are regular D. This is a 4-disc set for Twin Peaks. And I think it's just episodes. Yeah, nothing super cool about that. It's just Twin Peaks episodes. I don't know. Yeah, so it's episodes 1 through 7. They probably sold the whole series. I mean, you could probably stream this in a number of different ways. 48 minutes per episode. It's kind of cool. I remember thinking Twin Peaks was like really weird when it first came out. I wasn't too interested as a kid. But a few years ago, when I heard there was going to be like a Twin Peaks sequel that I think eventually did get made. First was canceled, then I didn't even see it. I started watching the original series, and it started out really cool, then fizzled out, and then I totally lost interest in it. I did watch the movie, but by then it's like, whatever, Twin Peaks. All right, so now I'm going to try to go through these pretty quickly because there are a ton of them. They all came in the same set. So there's When Harry Met Sally. Right, that's pretty cool. Is this one of my other? I can't even remember which ones that were in my other. I want to say it's familiar. Anyway, Watchers 2. Mark Singer. I was like, who's this guy? Is the Beastmaster. That's who he is. We saw the Beastmaster not too long ago. So that's that. I never even heard of that one. Twins. This is a good one. Danny DeVito, Arnold Schwarzenegger, one of his comedies. That's cool. Young Sherlock Holmes, Steven Spielberg presents. I feel like this was a TV movie. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. Anyway, he also made Young Indiana Jones, I think, with Lucas. More Twin Peaks, exclusive home video edition of the series premiere. Guess whoever owned this really liked Twin Peaks. The best 2 hours of film you'll find anywhere these days. What? Oh, this is the movie. Is this Firewalk with Me? Twin Peaks starring Kyle MacLachlan. What? Wait a minute. What is this? Credits laid in the lake, up in the stairs into... Unlike the other two, Twin Peaks and Burning Question, who killed... Okay. You're holding the special home video version of the feature-length Twin Peaks pilot. Okay. The staggeringly original first season premiere. Okay, so it's basically like the beginning of the series. Oh, had some leftover junk from the other one. So there's that. I wonder if he's got the import Twin Peaks. There's like a Twin Peaks sound something that was like a Japan only release. That's pretty rare. The 7% solution. I looked at this earlier before I started filming. I'm like, what the hell is this? I thought it was going to be like a marketing thing or whatever, but it's actually a movie. And check this out. Alan Arkin as Sigmund Freud and Nicole Williamson as Sherlock Holmes. So it's got Freud and Holmes in this movie. Vanessa Redgrave as Lola Devereaux, and Robert Duvall is Dr. Watson. Interesting. I wonder how his British accent is. There's that soap dish. I remember this. I also remember skipping it. It's got a lot of famous people on there, but whatever. I'm not even going to show the back of whatever it's soap dish. I don't even know what this is. To a town with no future comes a girl with a past. The Spitfire Grill. When was this? 1997. Whatever. Let's see. Strictly Ballroom. Interesting. My friend Akira, who grew up in Australia, recommended this movie to me, and to Nicole, actually, who she didn't even see it. A couple of, maybe, actually, it's been a while since I've seen Akira, so maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I think it was pre-COVID, so it's been a while. And I saw it, and it was very okay. It wasn't great. It's an Australian film, and it's about ballroom dancing, and he recommended it, and apparently a lot of people loved it. I thought it was fine. But that's so interesting that it was there the whole time. I don't remember how I watched it, but I had the Laserdisc the entire time, and I didn't even know. Speaking of time, time after time. So it's H.G. Wells. It's named H.G. Wells stalks the criminal Jack the... What the... A scientific genius named H.G. Wells stalks a criminal genius named Jack the Ripper across time itself in the most ingenious thriller of our time. That sounds wild. He must like Sherlock Holmes or something. He's not Sherlock Holmes, though. It's H.G. Wells. He just has the Sherlock Holmes type cap. That is crazy. I've never heard of that. To Have and Have Not. Old film with Bogey and Bacall. We're also in The Big Sleep together, which I have on CED. One of the movies that I checked out on that. Oh my God. Logan's Run. Yes. I'm like, fine. I think I had seen this list, but like I'm seeing them sort of for the first time. Wow, Farrah Fawcett's featured there. She was in like a tiny bit of the movie, and there she is again. Logan's Run, if you don't know, is a sci-fi. It was ahead of its time. It's a great film. I recommend it. It is very dated. You're gonna laugh at a lot of the effects, but this was even pre-Star Wars. So Michael York plays Logan. Basically, the whole premise I can sum up pretty quickly. This is a utopian future where everybody is young because I think is it 30? At the age of 30, you basically go to this thing called regeneration, where you go through this ritual and you're essentially killed but regenerated again, so you're supposed to like live forever. But in reality, regeneration is just people getting, like, you just die at 30. Like, they just kill you at 30. You have this gem on your, I'd see it like this, you have this gem on your top of your hand there, the back of your hand, and it starts flashing when it's time for you to regenerate. And there's people that run. They don't want to get, you know, they fear regeneration, and so he is one of the people that hunts them down, and it's called Logan's Run because he goes undercover. He becomes a runner himself in order to find where all these people are running to, some underground, like an underground rebellion or whatever, of people that refuse to get regenerated. It's a really cool movie, really interesting. I highly recommend it. You just have to get over that, you know, it's old, so it's gonna look old when you look at the effects and stuff. But very cool. Love Potion number 9. I remember hearing of this. It's like late 80s. When was this released? 1993. Okay. Yeah. I don't know too much about that. Whatever. Another Bogart, the Maltese Falcon. This I have never seen. So this is one of the ones I'll probably put on the I'm going to check out pile. Very cool. Let's see what I have here. Gotta adjust these. Celebrate Man on the Moon with Walter Cronkite. For those super, super young people, Walter Cronkite was like one of the most famous, most trusted, most endeared news anchors of all time. He hosted the CBS News for years and years and years, and everybody loved Walter Cronkite. Everybody, you know, he stood for like the American way and truth in journalism and things like that, which we don't have anymore. So that's him. Yeah, it's cool. So he's going over, it's kind of probably like a documentary hosted by Walter Cronkite. That's pretty neat. The Milagro Beanfield Award, I'm pretty sure this was in the other lot. I think I talked about how my college roommate wanted me to watch that because we're both Hispanic, and he's like, you gotta watch this, and I'm like, cool. And this is another one that was, I think, in the other set, Miracle on 34th Street, which really cool movie, but you know, don't really need 2 copies of it. What is this? Is this Raul Julia? Wow, for a second I thought it was, what's his name? Oh gosh, the guy who won for best actor for doing Freddie Mercury. What's his name? Oh my God, his name escapes me. But anyway, I thought that was that guy for a second. I was like, what? He wasn't alive, or at least he wasn't an adult back when this. Overdrawn at the Memory Bank, whatever. What the hell is this? 1983. In the regimented world of the future, 5 major corporations wield total control over men's minds and actions. But a few men still remain strong enough to resist and romantic enough to dream. Huh. Rami Malek. That's his name. Rami Malek. But, yeah, it's kind of wild looking. I might check that out. I like really weird movies. This looks weird too. Pontiac Moon, Ted Danson, Mary Steenburgen. I've never heard of this. Original offbeat and very funny. It's a great ride. You know, Bob Healy from Satellite News Network. That's the best quote that could come up from, you know, an obscure movie reviewer. Whatever. Marilyn, River of No Return. I guess they probably had a series of Marilyn Monroe movies. River of No Return. Robert Mitchum, Marilyn. Wow, he gets first billing too over Marilyn Monroe. So yeah, I'm not too familiar with her, but maybe I'll check that out. Roxy Music, The High Road, Pioneer Artists. Is this like a... What is this? What is she doing to her mouth? That's weird. This truly cosmopolitan rock pop art group have been making great music for 10 years, and The High Road has been hailed as one of their best performances. So it's like a concert Laserdisc. So let me stick that in the disc player just to check it out. The Good Mother, Diane Keaton, Liam Neeson. Well, he doesn't even get a building at all. I don't know anything about this one. There's so many obscure movies on Laserdisc. I'm like, it seems like there's more obscure movies on Laserdisc than on VHS. I don't know. That's the way it seems to me. It seems like most of the VHS stuff I know, but what is this? I don't know. Whatever. Moving on. The Grifters. Again, Martin Scorsese. Production of a Stephen Frears thriller. Yeah, whatever. Oh, okay, cool. Peter Gunn. Speaking of Henry Mancini, he also did the theme to Peter Gunn. You know, the dun 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 dun. You also may recognize it from Rock and Roll Racing for the Super Nintendo because they had that theme in there too. He did the opening theme for Peter Gunn. Basically, he's just I think he's just a private eye. Yeah, Blake Edwards, who works with Mancini. So I guess these are just 4 episodes. Peter Gunn. That's pretty cool. What is this? Is that Travolta? Hair. Who is that? Huh. I feel like I should know this. Treat Williams, John Savage, Beverly D'Angelo. She's the wife in Vacation. I don't know anybody else. I feel like I should know this. Well, that sucks. It's 2 hours and 1 minute. Does that mean you have to put a whole other disc just for that extra minute? The Hairdresser's Husband. I have no idea what the hell this is. Sexier Than a Dozen Basic Instincts. Okay. One of the year's 10 best films. Roger Ebert. Okay. Jean Rochefort. I don't know how to say that. Anna Galliena? Hairdresser. Filmed by Patrice Lecomte. Must be French. Hey now. It happens at an early age. We decide the world decided to become movie stars. I don't know. Subtitled in English. Erotic obsession. It's mad love fulfillment are the focus of acclaimed comic romance from Patrice Lecomte. Monsieur Hire. Or he. I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce most of those names. I'm just going to skip it. Some kind of sexy French film. Heart and Souls. God, Robert Downey Jr., what were you doing at this time? Whatever. Skipping. Alfred Hitchcock presents 4 unforgettable tales of terror from the critically acclaimed TV series. So he had a TV series. These are 4 episodes from it. Lamb to the Slaughter, The Case of Mr. Pelham, Bacchus Chair, Back for Christmas, never before released on home video. Cool. I might check that out. I always thought, I don't know if he lost weight or something, but this silhouette of Alfred Hitchcock never really matched. I think when you walk into the silhouette, I think he's too skinny. I'm dancing as fast as I can. I remember this being in the theater, and I remember thinking, wow, that looks super boring. That's for adults who want to watch boring shit. Apparently something about this chick that was addicted to pills? Oh, tranquilizers. Anyway, I do remember that pretty vividly being in the movie theater. Imagine by John Lennon, definitive film portrait. Huh, this is interesting. A classic film biography. Okay, so it's a biography of John Lennon. What the? Wow, somebody put a sticker on here. Maybe it was in school or something. It says, I don't know if you can see that. A few F words and GD words courtesy of Lennon. That's interesting. That's cool. Let me check that out. Clute. Jane Fonda, Donald Sutherland. What? She won the Academy Award for Best Actress? I didn't know that. I didn't know she ever won an Academy Award. I was thinking of her in Barbarella. Or the Jane Fonda workout from the 80s. Language. Bad. F words. Look at that. I guess it came from the same collection. Huh. I think, now that I think about it, the guy that sold it to me said that he got it when he was working at Best Buy from some lady that wanted to trade them in, and he bought it off of her, including the Laserdisc player. So some old lady, so it makes sense. Maybe she wrote that down so her grandchildren want to watch it or something. Don Juan DeMarco, I do remember this. Marlon Brando. Also remember that I wasn't interested then, and I'm not interested in it now. Official Laserdisc of the IMAX motion picture, The Dream is Alive. A window seat in the space shuttle. That's neat. I went to Half Price Books today, and they had some NASA museum archive Laserdiscs, and I got excited, and then I looked them up, and it turns out they were just a bunch of digital photos stored on Laserdisc. And I'm like, I can probably find that on NASA.org or something. But anyway, that's kind of neat. Space stuff. Okay. Oh, this is a famous... Eagles, Hell Freezes Over. This is when they got back together after they said they would never do it. And then they decided they liked... Oops, my laser just fell forward. They decided they liked money too much. And then they were like, you know what? Yeah, we should get together and do another tour. So this was that. I like the Eagles personally. Well, these Eagles, not the Philadelphia Eagles. Don't like them at all. But yeah, that's pretty cool. There's Don Henley, Glenn Fry, Joe Walsh, and the other guys. The other guys. That's pretty cool. It's not a... Okay, it is a Laserdisc. I was like, it's not the album, is it? All right. What is this one? Henry Jaglom's Eating, a very serious comedy about... Oh, Harry Jaglom's Eating, a very serious comedy about women and food. How can you have a serious comedy? 25 years ago, the secret subject of women was sex. Today, it's food. Huh. 1991. This looks super weird in a way that's kind of interesting. What do women at a trendy Southern California birthday party talk about in the 90s? Food. And men in that order. Funny, piercing, touching, and wonderful. A provocative tribute to women. The ideal movie for friends of whatever sex to share. Leah, was it? Garchik. San Francisco Chronicle. All right. Keep that one in mind. What is this? Enchanted April. Miramax, which is like the A24 of the 90s. Yep, whatever. Moving on. Agatha Christie, The Murderer's Row Collection, Endless Night, starring Haley Mills, Hywell Bennett, Britt Eklund, and two other people I've never heard of. What is this? Agatha Christie's inimitable suspense and teasing style is brought to the screen in an adaptation of a best-selling novel, Endless Night. Okay, so it's an adaptation of a novel. Okay. That's fine that you exist. That's cool. Man, get into weird shit now. What the hell is this? The Evening Star, the continuing story. Oh, it's Terms of Endearment 2? Did we really need a Terms of Endearment 2? This is like The Shining with Dr. Sleep. Like, who was asking for part 2? A story about friends, family, and other natural disasters. Juliette Lewis. I never liked Juliette Lewis. She kind of always rubbed me the wrong way. The only time I liked her was when she was in Christmas Vacation, and that's just because it was Christmas Vacation. Let's see, The Fan. I thought this was Wesley Snipes. Isn't he in a movie called The Fan? Or am I thinking of something else? 1981, Laura Bacall. Yeah, that's the second Laura Bacall movie, although this is much later. I don't know what this is. Laura Bacall returns to the screen in her most exciting suspenseful role as glamorous celebrity and renowned. So, my recording got interrupted during my reading of The Fan, but honestly, it's a fan. Who cares? Moving on. Ooh, this is a good one. Flash Gordon. That is neat. I love Flash Gordon. I have it on Blu-ray. I have it on DVD. Now I have it on Laser. Apparently, I've had it on Laserdisc for so long. Wait a minute. No. This is came. I said when I said that earlier that I've had it for a while. I was thinking that these were the Laserdiscs that I had picked up with my Laser Active like 20 years ago. But no, these are ones I picked up a few weeks ago, so I have not had it. Anyway, I have it now. Flash Gordon is awesome if you haven't seen it. It's a fantastic movie. Yes, it's a little dated. It was 1980. It was after Star Wars, so it's a little Star Wars. Well, to be fair, like Flash Gordon predated Star Wars by 40 years or whatever it was from the 30s serials. But certainly Star Wars getting pretty big in the late 70s and early 80s. Pretty much I'm sure that's one of the reasons this was greenlit, but it has a soundtrack by Queen, which is fantastic. And even though it does look a little dated, the colors, like you can kind of get a glimpse of it here, are so good. The cinematography is still pretty good. I know there's, quite questionable special effects and stuff like that, but it was still pretty fun. Very enjoyable. I think it still holds up. So I'm going to enjoy rewatching that on Laserdisc. I'd rather rewatch Flash than like watch some of the other crap that I've been pulling out of this box. Fletch, another winner. Awesome. Yeah, this is a great movie. Chevy Chase. He plays a journalist who basically dresses up as a bunch of other people in costumes, as you can see here, so you can get the story. So yeah, that's a good one. Great movie. And okay, so we're Chevy Chase fans. Foul play. This is Goldie Hawn and Chevy Chase. I don't really know what's going on here. He's shooting his gun through his trench coat. I don't know if I've ever seen this one. 1978. Okay. Yeah, is that Dudley Moore? As Burgess Meredith Dudley Moore. Huh. I'll have to check this one out. I don't think I've ever seen this one. I don't like Chevy Chase. All right, moving on. Oh, this movie. Get Shorty. Yeah, this movie certainly came around because of Pulp Fiction. I'm off center now. I don't know. It's a product of its time. I remember them talking about SUVs like they were a big thing. They were up and coming thing. But yeah, it's all right. Christmas Carol, the Charles Dickens classic. Which version is this? This one has Reginald Owen, Gene Lockhart, Kathleen Lockhart. Are they related? Terry Kilburn, Barry McKay. I don't recognize any of these. What year was this? 19. Includes MGM Short, Jackie Cooper's Christmas Party, and Judy Garland Sings Silent Night, plus the cartoons The Night Before Christmas, Tom and Jerry, 1941, and Peace on Earth, MGM cartoon, 1939. That is cool. And even with all those extras, the running time's an hour and 10 minutes. I like that. That means it's nice and tight. I might check that out. I love Christmas movies, so why not? Here we got another concert type Laserdisc, I guess. Or plug. No, it is unplugged. Eric Clapton Unplugged. I guess it's from the MTV sessions. Is that right? Warner, what year? 1982 MTV. Yep. I'd rather it have been Nirvana Unplugged, but Eric Clapton's cool, I guess. Cocaine and cream and all that stuff. What is this? Joe Cocker. Was he in the Eagles? Was he in the Eagles? I don't even know. Well, whatever. I feel like he was in something. Joe Cocker. Okay, whatever. Joe Cocker. This is neat. State of the art of computer animation. An unforgettable visual experience. I remember these. Computer animation was so novel that people would make shorts and they would sell them on VHS and Laserdisc, and it was like just watching animated cartoons that were computer generated were like a big deal. So that's pretty cool. They look super dated now. I mean, probably a PlayStation 3 could probably do what they do. I mean, for sure, PlayStation 4. And undoubtedly, PlayStation 5 can do all that on the fly. The Day of the Dolphin, George C. Scott and Mike Nichols film. Same people. 2 F words. Like there's some, I imagine like some old librarian type lady with like those glasses with like the little necklace chain, and her hair up in an updo, watching all these laser discs, making sure that they're clean enough for kids, and writing down 2. I'm surprised it doesn't have timestamps, so we can avoid that. 2 F words and 1 GD. So unnecessary in an otherwise awesome movie. That's ridiculous. Like not even like she has commentary on it too. That is funny. I don't know. This they had to have been in a library, because who does that? There's that theory I had about the grandma who just owned all these. Fred Zinnemann's film of The Day of the Jackal, a John Wolfe production. I feel like I should know what this is, but unfortunately I don't. So we're gonna move on. I don't know how many of these I have. Getting close to the end, sort of. Dead Reckoning, another Humphrey Bogart film. This one does not seem to have Lauren Bacall in it, but Elizabeth Scott. I love old movies, so that'll probably go on my check it out pile. Look at this one. The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Starring Jack Palance. Most of you probably know him from City Slickers. Wow, that's pretty cool. Maybe, that's on a maybe pile. I may watch that, maybe not. Dr. Zhivago. Deluxe letterbox edition. This one's a fold out and everything. Wow. This is another one where, as a kid, I was like, this is for old people. Looks super boring. It's a 6-track magnetic stereophonic soundtrack was digitally rematrixed for Dolby Surround. Yeah. Omar Sharif. I mostly know him from, what was that? Lawrence of Arabia. Oh my God. This one's awesome. Raiders of the Lost Ark, Laserdisc, widescreen edition. Oh my God. Is this a fold out? I gotta take it out. This is a find. Oh, does it not fold out? Yes, it does. It does. Man, look how young Harrison Ford looks. Side 1, side 2. Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is it. Harrison Ford and filmmaker Steven Spielberg and George Lucas team up for the first Indiana Jones movie, set the whirlwind tone for Indy's adventures to come. So this is definitely printed much after Raiders of the Lost Ark came out, probably at least one or two. So 1981, of course, that's original. But when is it copyright for this disc? 1992. So all three of the original trilogy were already released. So. Yeah, that's super cool. So it's only one disc? Raiders of the Lost Ark. Extended play CLV. Okay. I have to check that out again. Not that I need an excuse to check out Raiders of the Lost Ark, but sure, let's check that. I love how whoever had this originally even kept the original plastic sleeve, so I'll indulge and keep that on there as well. Oh, and speaking of Lawrence of Arabia, there it is. Half Price Books, $2.99. I went to Half Price Books today. All their Laserdiscs, the one I went to, were $4.99, which is sort of a bummer. I went to another one where they're $3.99. I think I have a couple of I bought here. Lawrence of Arabia. This thing. Oh, so this is a duplicate for sure. Because I remember I talked about this in the last lot, but what is, so this is, yeah, 4 sides. This one seems like a lot less thick. Still 2 discs, but I don't know, the other one seemed fatter. I remember this film existing. That's all I remember. Robert Redford Brubaker. Just seemed like a, and as a kid, you know, some films looked cool, you know, had motorcycles or guns or people exploding or, you know, some cool stuff, time travel, and then other films just look boring. I remember Kramer versus Kramer too. When that shit came out, I'm like, oh man, this looks so boring. What are they? It's in the courtroom all the time. Man, screw this film. Oh, this film though, Back to the Future Part 3. Gotta hope to have the other 2 in there. So Letterbox, that's cool. Awesome. Back to the Future is a great trilogy. So I'm happy to own this. Let's cross our fingers that I have Back to the Future. I think 1 and 2 are in there as well. Oh my God. Wow. The Criterion Collection, Blade Runner. I was looking. So first of all, I took my kids to see Blade Runner in the theater this past Friday, because the Draft House was showing it. Previous to that, I had never seen the original Blade Runner on a big screen. I told my kids, one of my kids had actually seen it a few months ago just on her own. It was on my Plex server, which she has access to, and she just like randomly watched it. So I have taken out so many Laserdiscs from the box that now they're starting to tip over. Sorry about that. So anyway, she had already seen it, and the other two, I talked to them about what it was, the plot, because it's kind of hard to follow. Because we watched the final. There's like I think 7 different cuts, and 5 of them are on the Blu-rays, the recent ones. You don't get the work print, and I think you don't get the TV cut as well. But anyway, it's 5 major cuts, and the last one's the final cut. I think this is the, gosh, you know what? I've forgotten already. But I was like super hyped to go see it. They 2 of them fell asleep. The one that had seen it before fell asleep, and then the other one fell asleep. But the youngest one stayed awake through the whole thing, and she liked it. But I don't blame her for falling asleep. It's kind of long and slow, but it's a great film. I can't remember which version this is. So yeah, the original was 1982. I'm pretty sure this one was the one that was called the director's cut, or maybe this is a European one that had they added the extra violent scenes. There's a whole thing, like look up Blade Runner versions, and there's like a whole Wikipedia page on it. It's pretty crazy. But anyway, I was so into like on this Friday, I was like so into like watching Blade Runner that I actually searched for the Laserdiscs and found some locally in Austin, and they wanted $12. They had 2 versions of it, and I was like, oh man, that Criterion Collection one, I kind of want that. He wants $12 for it. And so I left the page up. It was on my computer a little while ago when I checked it. I was like, oh yeah, that Blade Runner, and here it is. Wow, I had bought it a few weeks ago. I didn't even know, so I'm super excited for that. I'm sure it's CLV. They're always CLV, right? Or extended. I can't remember because it's a Criterion one. It feels like there's only 1 disc. Yeah, it's 2 sides, so it's got to be CLV. Yeah, extended play. 1 disc. Cool. Glad. Oh, and look at this. Speaking of Barbarella, Jane Fonda, I have Barbarella. Awesome. Widescreen edition. I love the widescreen editions. Better than pan and scan. This is a cheesy, sexy sci-fi classic. 1968. It's really cool. Like, again, it's super dated. Again, this is pre-Star Wars, so it's very cheesy, but definitely worth a watch. Very, very cool. So I'm still surprised Jane Fonda won a Best Actress Academy Award. That seems unlikely. Barefoot in the Park. I have heard of this one. Never seen it. That looks like Robert Redford. Is it? No, it can't be. Oh my God, it is. Neil Simon, Robert Redford is Mr. Straight. Jane Fonda, another Jane Fonda movie. Yeah, she was like the it girl for a while. Okay, getting to the end, guys, for this lot. The Big Chill. This was like, 30-somethings movie from the 80s. I didn't understand it. I wasn't 30-something. I was a kid, so I kind of was like, whatever. But I remember it being a big deal. Oh, that's funny. The Big Sleep, another Humphrey Bogart movie. This one I actually have on CD as well. I got it in a estate sale, but there's another Bogart and Bacall movie. So The Big Sleep is a euphemism for dead, right? That's your big, when you die, you go to the big sleep. But anyway, that's a pretty cool film. I saw it on CD not too long ago. Not too many people can say that sentence. I saw it on CD not too long ago. Blue City. What is this, like 1/3 of The Breakfast Club? Decided to make another movie because The Breakfast Club was so big. Whoa, what's going on here? I don't know what this is. This small Florida town up to its neck, and you know what? Already don't care. Bored. Moving on. Huh. This is cool. The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle has 2 episodes, Banana Formula and The Weather Lady. So the thing with Rocky and Bullwinkle, what people don't know or don't realize or forgot is that it was really, I know there are a bunch of shorts, right? And of course the Aesop's Fables and the Mr. Peabody stuff was kind of its standalone stuff. But the Rocky and Bullwinkle cartoons, if you all remember, if you've ever seen it, they were one continuous storyline. So they would go from one to the other. At the beginning of it, was like those old serials. They would say, previously in the last cartoon, blah, 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 this happened. And then it would be, at the end, it'd be like, stay tuned or watch out for the next episode. And it would say, Rocky saves the day, or how Bullwinkle messed up, or something like that. I would have like 2 alternate titles for the next cartoon, and they always did that. So it kind of sucks to like just watch 2 episodes because you're just getting the snippet of a long overarching story. Not that, when you're a kid, you don't really care about the plot. You're just like, hey, they're doing cool stuff and flying around and beating up the Russian people, and that was pretty neat. But anyway, that's kind of neat. Oh man, this is another one that I really like. This good. The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. Again, this was like early 80s, I think. Oh, Vestron Video. I remember seeing tons of videos with Vestron's logo. This is extended pay. What year is this? 82? I don't even know. Gotta say someplace. Super cute. Copyright, motion pictures. I'm not gonna tell me what year it is, huh? See in the front. 1984. Okay, so it's 84. This is a pretty wild, weird sci-fi film, and it stars Peter Weller, who most people know as RoboCop. But anyway, that's a classic. I dig that. What is compact Laserdisc? Aha, hunting hunt. What's a compact Laserdisc? Seems like a 12-inch. This is a regular ass Laserdisc to me. How is it compact? Are they trying to say that something like, I don't know, were they trying to compare it to compact disc or something? CDs? Made in Japan, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. What is this? Take on Me the Video. Train of Thought video, so videos. And then another Take on Me, another Train of Thought. That must be live performances or something. I don't know. Like, if you're like me, the only song you know from Maha's is Take on Me. It might have been successful in Europe or something. I don't know. That's the only song I know. What is this? Babalu Music. I Love Lucy's Greatest Hits. Ricky Ricardo. Babalu Music from Desi Arnaz's classic performances with his orchestra, the Tropicana, and many wonderful songs and musical moments from your favorite episodes. Okay, so they just took like the musical numbers from I Love Lucy and they put them on this Laserdisc, and I'm sure they sold tens of discs. I own one of them. Here's Back to the Future 1. And I already saw over there in the box Back to the Future 2 there, so I'm just going to bring it out. And these are the last 2 from the lot. So Back to the Future 1 and Back to the Future 2 to accompany Back to the Future 3 that I pulled out earlier. Awesome movies. The Back to the Future movies, at least the first one, are also available on High Vision, which was like it was HD movies on Laserdisc in the 90s, but they're so crazy expensive and you needed to jump through so many hoops to watch them. You needed a special television, you needed a special high vision player, you needed a decoder to decode the high definition video. And if it's AC3, I think you needed a decoder for that too. I'm not sure if it was AC3 or not. And then the quality though of those high vision Back to the Future, and they had other movies too. There weren't that many. I think there were less than 20 or something like that. But anyway, Back to the Future on Laserdisc. Awesome. Can't wait to rewatch them on Laserdisc because it's just fun to rewatch movies on different weird media. Last 2 I have here did not come in that lot. These 2 I just purchased separately recently in half-price books. The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. If you've never heard of this movie, it's a Terry Gilliam movie. Terry Gilliam was the only American in Monty Python's Flying Circus. He's the one responsible for all that weird animation, that cut out stop motion or whatever animation. That was all Terry Gilliam. He did come out in some sketches. He did put on a British accent, but he was an American. He directed a series of 3 films that are not related per se, but people kind of put them together because they're all Terry Gilliam, and they kind of go like an overarching idea of Time Bandits, which is a story about a kid, then Brazil, which is a story about a middle-aged adult, and then The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, which is a story about an old man reflecting about when he was younger. So those are all Terry Gilliam films. I can recommend each one of them. I think Brazil's probably the hardest one to watch. This one has a lot of action, It was very expensive and a big flop, unfortunately. All of Terry Gilliam's movies are generally flops. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, I think, was another one of his movies. But they're usually critically acclaimed and don't make much money. So after making Time Bandits in Brazil, the studio gave him a lot of money to make The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, and the production quality is amazing. I actually watched this recently on my Laser Active. Great movie. It's such a shame that it didn't do well in the box office, but I definitely recommend that you check it out, Laserdisc or not. Just check out that movie. And the other one was Walt Disney's Sleeping Beauty. See, I picked it up for $4. I just never seen it. I've never seen Sleeping Beauty, so I saw it and I'm like, you know what? I've never seen this. It's a classic. I should probably see it. So I picked it up for $4. That's about it. All right, so I don't know how long this video is because the other video got interrupted and I started a new one at the beginning of this video. So I think that we're good for Laserdiscs. Gonna end this video here pretty soon. I think I talked about both of the players. Just to wrap up, the CLD 1070 I picked up because it was part of this big, huge Laserdisc lot, and then the LA 3100, if I didn't really talk about that too much, I picked that one up because I got so many Laserdiscs now that I wanted a dual side player or both sides play a Laserdisc player so that I wouldn't have to flip it over so much, and one of higher quality. So I picked up that Denon, which again I picked up from this guy who was like a Laserdisc like aficionado, and he works on them, and he has this whole section of his house where he's got oscilloscopes and all kinds of things where he tunes them and things like that. So I'm very confident that it's a very good model that's working well and it's dual side play. So anyway, guys, thank you for sticking with me through that really long video. And the next one I'm going to make is probably going to be much shorter. It's for the CEDs. So if you're interested in that, check it out. Check out the channel in a couple of days. Thanks.